Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to tackle something that trips up so many people learning English, talking about the future. You know, if you've ever found yourself completely stuck, wondering which future tense to use, then you are in exactly the right place. Okay, let's jump right in.
So does this look familiar? I bet it does. It's that classic moment of confusion. You've got these three options, right? And they all seem to say the same thing, but you've got this nagging feeling that there's a subtle difference. It's honestly enough to make you just want to talk about the past and the present forever.
Well, here's the secret, the big reveal. They can all be correct. The key isn't some super complicated grammar rule that you've forgotten. No, it's all about what you really mean. The choice you make actually signals your specific intention to the person you're talking to. It's all about your perspective.
So how are we going to get from all that confusion to feeling confident? Here's our game plan. First, we'll get to the bottom of why the future is so tricky in the first place. Then, we're going to meet the key players for making predictions, plans, and arrangements. And finally, we'll see them all in action so you can see how the theory works in the real world.
All right, let's start with that big question. Why on earth does English have so many ways to talk about something that hasn't even happened yet? Well, unlike a lot of other languages, English doesn't really have one single future tense. Instead, we use a bunch of different verb forms to add these extra layers of meaning. You know, things like how certain we are, or whether something is planned, or just a spontaneous idea. First up, let's talk about the word will. Now, to make this really simple, let's think of its two main jobs as two different characters. We've got the dreamer, who, you guessed it, makes predictions, and then we have the decider, who makes those split-second choices.
See that first word there? Maybe? That one little word tells you everything you need to know. This isn't a fact, it's not a done deal. It's a hope, a belief, a prediction. This is our dreamer at work, just expressing an opinion about what the future might hold, with absolutely no guarantee.
So let's lock that idea in. Anytime you're just sharing a belief you have or an opinion or making a prediction without any real solid evidence to back it up, will is going to be your best friend. It's the language of hopes and guesses.
And here is the other side of will. Meet the decider. So on the left, you see the dreamer talking about a life goal way off in the future. But look at the right. That decision is happening right now, in that moment. There was no plan to miss the concert. Just seeing the time sparked an instant decision. We'll miss it. That's will for those on-the-spot, in-the-moment choices. So, what happens when you do have a plan? Okay, now for the main event, the big showdown between be going to and the present continuous. Honestly, this is where most people get tangled up, so let's clear it up. Let's meet our next two characters, the planner, who loves to use be going to, and the organizer, who always uses the present continuous. And right here, you can see the crucial difference. I'm going to wash the car is a personal intention. It's a plan that lives inside your head. You've decided to do it. But we're traveling to Ireland? That just feels more solid, doesn't it? That is a fixed arrangement. You can practically see the tickets booked, the ferry confirmation sitting in an email inbox. Our organizer has been busy making concrete plans. Okay, our final future form is the future continuous. Now, this one sounds kind of complicated, but trust me, it's actually super visual. To get this one, all you have to do is become a time traveler for a second and just picture yourself at a specific moment in the future. Just look at this timeline here. If you could travel forward in time to exactly this time next week, what would you find yourself in the middle of doing? You will be skiing. See, the action of skiing will have already started, but it won't be finished yet. You're right in the middle of it. So the whole key here is being in the middle of doing something. You're not talking about when it starts or when it finishes, but the action that's happening at a very specific future point in time. That's the difference between saying I will ski and I will be skiing.
Okay, so we've looked at all the individual pieces of the puzzle. Now let's see how they all work together in a totally natural conversation. This is where all that theory becomes really practical. All right, so here's our friend Eddie. He says, I am going to wash the car. Now, based on everything we've just talked about, what kind of future is this? Is it a sudden decision, a fixed arrangement, or is it something else? Think about it. He's just stating his personal plan.
And then Terry replies, but he uses a totally different form. He says, I am looking round the new sports club. Why didn't he say I am going to look round? What does his choice, the present continuous, tell Eddie about his plan?
And there's our answer. Eddie's plan was an intention. It's something he decided for himself, a plan in his head.
That's why he used be going to. But Terry's plan was an arrangement. He probably called the sports club, booked a time to visit. His use of the present continuous signals that this is an organized event, something on his calendar.
And that brings us right back to our big idea. The real power to talk about the future correctly isn't about memorizing a bunch of complicated rules. It's about understanding your own meaning first. Are you predicting something? Deciding on the spot? Just planning? Or have you made a firm arrangement? Once you know that, the choice becomes so much clearer.
And hey, by asking that question using going to, I'm asking about your intentions for the future. See how that works? Your whole journey to mastering English is made up of all these small, powerful little choices. Thanks so much for joining me for this one.